Hey kids, this is Mr. H. Welcome to this week's video of Best Brain series of incredible children. This week we're going to be looking at King Tutankhamun. If you haven't already, make sure you check the link in the description below for the tag-along worksheet in this video. King Tutankhamun was the last pharaoh to rule during the end of the 18th dynasty, a time period known as the New Kingdom of Egyptian history. Over 3,000 years ago in the 14th century BCE, he was made pharaoh between the ages of 8 and 9. There's a bit of debate about the specific age, but we know it was between 8 and 9. Now, Tut became pharaoh during a time of economic, political, basically any kind of turmoil you can think of. That's what was going on when he became pharaoh. Tut's father, Akhenaten, had made several very bad decisions. He had left the kingdom in political depravity by not really maintaining good relations with the neighboring kingdoms. This would end up leading to several wars that Tut himself would have to fight. He had also left them in rather deep economic turmoil, and on a religious side, he had changed one of the patron gods to the god of Aten, even reflecting this in his own name. King Tutankhamun was actually born King Tutankhaten in respect of the god that his father had chosen to worship. Tut faced an uphill battle the moment he was made pharaoh. His most immediate issues were the economic depravity and the neglected political relations thanks to his father. The latter of these resulted in two different wars that Tut eventually won out in. Now we know that he was successful in these military campaigns due to the fact that when they discovered his tomb in the 20th century, they found two different carvings depicting two separate military conquests, and in these carvings we see images of prisoners of war being towed back behind chariots, presumably back to welcoming their king from a successful military campaign. Through these military campaigns, he was able to help the economic situation due to the spoils of war. Taking gold, treasures, artifacts from these other kingdoms and bringing them into his own kingdoms to fill the coffers, so to speak. Thankfully for King Tut, it wasn't all wars and conquests. He spent a good deal of time repairing relations with some of the other neighboring kingdoms instead of fighting them. The reason we know this is because when they found his tomb, they found lots of gifts. Gifts that would have been given by neighboring kingdoms to prepare him for his journey into the afterlife, as is common when it comes to Egyptian pharaoh burials. He also reversed several of his father's religious decisions. He ended worship of the god Aten and restored the god Amun, going so far as to change his name from Tutankhaten to Tutankhamun. And it is here where we finally see the name that he was remembered as. Now, Tutankhamun is referred to as one of the most famous pharaohs of all time. His tomb, despite being really small and actually having workhouses built over it for common folk, was filled to the brim with over 5,000 different artifacts and items, again to help prepare him for his journey into the afterlife. One of these items found was a dagger made from meteorite iron. Meteorite iron is a very complex metal, and it's very difficult to work with even for modern blacksmiths today, using modern tools and everything. This indicated a level of craftsmanship that was practically unheard of. For comparison's sake, Scandinavia, where Norway and Finland are, they just entered a Bronze Age. They were way behind in terms of craftsmanship, and history shows that level of craftsmanship in Egypt would actually come to be lost. Now, interesting fact concerning Tut's tomb. During the time when, in the early 20th century, when there was a huge focus on finding antiquities in Egypt and tombs in Egypt, there were rumors circulating around thanks to local papers and certain avid people that there was this curse of the pharaohs, where people hunting for these tombs and trying to quote-unquote break into these tombs, like Brendan Fraser in The Mummy, would be cursed to suffer a very painful demise, let's say. Most people tried not to pay this rumor any mind, but the rumors did gain some notoriety when George Herbert, a British earl, died almost 5 months to the day in 1923 after he had been present for discovering the first steps leading down into Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922. Now, why do you guys need to know about this? I'm sure someone's asking that. King Tut was only a child, and a sickly one at that, when he became pharaoh. He spent a long portion of his life needing a cane to walk around in. Yet, despite this, they found in his tomb that he was trained in archery rather well, and he's since then become one of the most important people to ever carry the title of pharaoh. In the 9 years he was pharaoh, his decisions had a profound impact on the arts, local religion, economy, and military standing of his kingdom. This is evident by the number of gifts and artifacts that were put into his tomb at his death at the age of 18 or 19. He did this because he saw a problem in his own kingdom and decided he wasn't going to sit idly by like his father had done before him. Anyone can decide to help, to dedicate themselves to making something about the life around them better. It's in our nature as human beings, from a very early age, to help those around us. However, that can sometimes go away as we get older. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But with children, that notion is almost always present, to do the right thing to help someone. Even if you don't understand why you're doing it, you feel it's the right thing to do. You don't, by nature, want to leave someone out to hang. You want to help them. You want to make something better for them, even if you don't know why you're doing it. Thanks for watching this week's video on King Tutankhamun. Be sure to stop by next week for our video on Samantha Smith, America's youngest ambassador. Till next time, bye kids.